Hello everyone, I'm Paul and today we're solving problem 73, set matrix zeros. This is a medium problem and actually there's one simple solution for this one, so keep watching. We're given a matrix and whenever we find a zero in this matrix, we need to set the entire row and column to 0. And we need to do this in place. So for example, here we have a 0 and we transform every element in every row and every column into a 0. So this is the initial matrix and this is the result. And the strategy for this one is simple. We will have two sets. We will call the first one rows and we will call the second one columns. And every time we find a 0, we are adding to rows the current row, in this case a 1. So here we add a 1, and similarly every time we find a 0 we are adding to columns the current column, which in this case is a 1. Okay, so here we add another 1, and now we'll iterate this again, and every time we step into a row that we have in our set we replace the value in that row with a 0. So we replace this with a 0, we replace this with a 0, and every time we step into a column that we have in our set, in this case we only have a 1, we do the same. So we replace this with a 0 and we replace this with a 0. So this is the entire approach. Time complexity for this one will be big O of n times m, and space complexity will be big O of n plus m, because we are only storing the amount of columns we have and the amount of rows we have. So this is it for the approach, and now let's go with the code and hopefully you will get the idea. Here we don't have to return anything, we need to modify the matrix in place. So first n equals length of matrix, m equals length of matrix at 0, rows is set, columns is another set, and for I in range n and for j in range m, if matrix at I j is a 0, we add to rows I and we add to columns j, and then we iterate this matrix again for I in range n, for j in range m. If I is in rows or j is in columns, we transform the current value and matrix into a 0. Okay, so this is the entire code. We don't need to return anything here, so we will submit this and see if it works. And as you can see, this works and it's very efficient. So if you found this useful, please drop a like, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.